A new bill to keep juvenile sex offenders out of public schools is being fast-tracked through Annapolis to make sure it can be passed before the session ends.
As Project Baltimore's Chris Papps explains, lawmakers now have less than a month to push it across the finish line.
Less than 4 weeks. That is all that remains of this year's legislative session in Annapolis.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Judicial Proceedings Committee.
The final push from lawmakers.
We have one bill on the docket. That's Senate Bill 1145 with Senator Salling.
To get bills passed.
This bill holds a significant implication for safety and well-being of our children.
It was just 6 weeks ago when Project Baltimore first reported that a 15-year-old on probation for a second-degree rape was attending Patterson High School. Since we broke that news, a lot has happened. First, sources tell Fox 45, the student was removed from Patterson and is now learning virtually. Meanwhile, the mothers who came to Project Baltimore to blow the whistle were placed under court orders prohibiting them from speaking publicly about the case. And while all this has been happening, lawmakers in Annapolis have been scrambling to make students safer in school.
It's a priority that we pass this bill.
On Wednesday in Annapolis, the Judicial Proceedings Committee held a hearing on Senate Bill 1145, sponsored by Senator Johnny Ray Salling from Baltimore County. Current state law prevents students who appear on the Adult Sex Offender Registry from taking classes inside of a school and mandates that school systems create alternative means of education, such as virtual learning. That legislation was passed in 2021 after Project Baltimore broke the story that a 21-year-old convicted sex offender was taking classes inside Parkville High School. Senate Bill 1145 expands on the 2021 law by including juveniles who are on the Juvenile Sex Offender Registry. If this bill passes, a juvenile on the registry would be barred from attending school in person and must be educated through alternative means outside of the classroom. Maryland does have a juvenile sex offender registry, but unlike the adult sex offender registry, it is not public and is only available to law enforcement. The juvenile registry is maintained by the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services. But this proposed law is only effective if juvenile offenders are actually placed on the registry. As of February 28th, the list only included 108 names throughout Maryland. That number, according to sources, does include the 15-year-old who attended Patterson. But he was only recently added. In January, when Project Baltimore first broke this story, the 15-year-old was not on the registry when he returned to school.
This is something that needs to be enforced, and that's why we're here. We're going to make them realize, okay, there's accountability in crime. And if we're not swift enough, somebody else is going to do it and get away with it. So we need to really attend this and do it wisely.
Do you think that can get done before the end of session?
It will get done before the end of session, and we've made a commitment on the Senate floor.
At a press conference last week, Senate President Ferguson said Senate Bill 1145 will be fast-tracked through the legislature.
100% agree with the sentiment and approach of figuring out how to make sure that young people are protected from someone that could commit harm.
Maryland only has a 90-day legislative session.
There needs to be accountability.
Senator Salling says for this bill to be written, debated, and potentially passed into law, all in fewer than 90 days, is rare.
It's very important. It's relevant. We see what has happened. We've heard from parents. We've heard from other people. We've got emails. We've got phone calls. We see the priority of this bill, and it's a priority. It should be a priority everywhere for our kids in making them realize you're important to us.
This legislation was prompted by two mothers who came to Project Baltimore in January to blow the whistle on the juvenile offender who was attending a public school in Baltimore. Those mothers wanted to testify at Wednesday's hearing, but they have both been placed under court orders prohibiting them from speaking publicly about this case. I'm Chris Papps, and this is Project Baltimore. I'm Chris Papps. Thanks for watching. here's another story to watch. Also, if you have a story idea, please send us a message.